I've just come back from Christopher Ward's secret watch launch event, and in this folder I have everything that you need to know about their brand new C12 Loco model. So let's have a look at their biggest and probably craziest watch release of the year. We were invited to a really nice penthouse in London where we had exclusive access to all 4 color variants of the C12 Loco, and we were also able to ask the CW team some really tough questions. This watch follows in the footsteps of their iconic Bel Canto model, so it has some really big boots to fill. But just before we jumped into this new and exciting watch launch, we want to let you know that if you're looking at getting some superb watch straps, you can find a ton of options over at the WatchGecko website. First things first, we wanted to know where the idea for the Loco came from, and to be honest, we didn't really expect the answer they gave us.
The initial idea came actually from Frank Stelzer, our technical director.
He was in a meeting and he got a little bit bored.
Whoever was conducting the meeting had lost his attention, and so Frank started doodling on a pad.
He took the Bel Canto movement, and when you imagine it from the top side, you have this bridge at the 12 o'clock. He mirrored this bridge to 6 o'clock, and instead of a dial, he put in a balance.
Like after that meeting, he came and showed us, and everyone thought, oh, this would be amazing. Like, we should look into this, because we knew Bel Canto was coming out soon at that point, and we kind of knew that there would have to be something to follow that, and we were kind of looking for something.
We then went on a long journey of iteration after iteration after iteration, and all we ended up doing was making Frank's original idea worse and worse and worse. And so at some point we decided that we would ditch all the iterations and go back to what Frank was doing originally.
It got into what was meant to be this really simple project of, yeah, we'll just take that movement and then put the balance wheel on the front and that's done, into, oh yeah, we actually need to develop a whole new in-house movement. Everything needs to change. And
amazingly, the team then developed that look into what now is the C12 Loco, which is, in my humble opinion, the most beautiful watch that we've ever created.
The C12 Loco features Christopher Ward's second in-house movement, the CW003. This movement is hand-wound and it has 144 hours of power reserve. So you get 6 days out of the twin barrels at the back, which is bonkers. We'll get back to the movement in a moment, but let's have a look at the case and dial now. The watch comes in a redesigned 41mm 12 case made from stainless steel. The case is 9.75mm thick, and once you add the front and rear sapphire crystals, you get about 13.7mm of total case height. The lugs are steeper, which creates a more comfortable fit on the wrist, and the total lug-to-lug length is 47.5mm. You can see how the watch looks on my 6.7-inch wrist. Even though I prefer sub 40mm watches, I was very impressed at how well the C12 Loco fitted on my wrist. Looking at it straight on, the watch face is legible and they've managed to put in lume on the hands and indices, so you can tell the time even in the dark. The team had to overcome a lot of challenges to get that free-sprung balance wheel just right, but the symmetry and the stunning bridges just exude sophistication. With how all the various elements are put together, the dial has a very unique 3D look to it. The watch face is sort of split in 2 halves. You have the clock side and then the balance wheel side, and both are separated in the middle with a very steep slope. It might be a little bit hard to tell in the video, so I really recommend seeing this watch in person. The watch also has a 30-meter water resistance, which is about usual for a high-end complication watch. I really think this C12 is made for dinner parties and board meetings rather than Arctic expeditions. Going back to the development of the watch and movement, we wanted to know what were some of the challenges that the CW team had to overcome to bring the Loco to market. And boy, oh boy, they had some serious hurdles to get over.
When the first prototypes have been assembled, a mixed team of our people with different skills and different parts of the business to think about emerge on this prototype to effectively stress test it to the extreme. First stress test that we did on it delivered a 12-page report with 150 issues. That was an interesting moment. Not all of them of the same magnitude, some of them very simple things to get right. One or two quite difficult to overcome, including the size and the depth of the bridges that hold the barrels back to the reverse of the watch. They were under stress. They were proving that they would buckle slightly, which would of course meant the movement would ultimately fail. So that was back to the drawing board.
So the biggest technical challenge for us was the balance wheel. So we decided very early on that if we were going to do a watch like this that had this real focus on the balance wheel, we wanted to do something completely bespoke to us, something very special, which is a whole new challenge that we'd never taken on before.
Getting the hairspring right, and we went to and have used one of the finest manufacturers of hairsprings in the world. This is a hairspring and a balance wheel that anybody who knows watches will know where it's come from. And nobody will have seen it in a watch anywhere near this price ever before.
So that was really the moment we're like, okay, we figured it out, but okay, this is going to be a really, really high effort, high resource project.
But getting it right, getting it to the specification that we wanted to deliver a 6-day power reserve and accuracy that's within COSC, like better than COSC, that led to one or two things that had to be adjusted.
When we were then assembling samples, the amplitude wasn't quite exactly what we wanted on the first sample, so we're having to make all sorts of modifications.
Christmas was a particularly interesting
All we
time.
wanted for Christmas was amplitude.
Yeah, that's a good line. All we wanted Christmas was amplitude, and
And we got it.
and we got it. And the guys in Build, one particular chap, Jonas, was going in on his Christmas holiday. We had the watch on test and the movement on test, and he was, as you know, it has to survive different positions in different temperatures over 5 days. And he was going in regularly during his Christmas holiday, including Christmas Day, to keep score of what was going on the test. And literally, most of the company was holding its breath all the way through the Christmas holidays, until the white smoke came out of our atelier in Beale, because Jonas said, yes! The man from Del Monte, he said yes. That was a great moment. That was a great moment. So, but bloody hair raising, because we didn't know until then that we had a 5-day power reserve that was accurate. So thankfully, we have.
Though I do think for us, it does represent a really big challenge that the team wanted to solve. They wanted to take on a big horological challenge of, can we create our own really great free-sprung balance wheel watch, and how do we solve that? And what it got to was us creating a new movement, and I don't think anyone quite anticipated that when Frank first did his doodle.
No,
so I
that's
think
for sure.
Regardless of what people think of it and what customers think of it, I think there will still be a lot of pride internally that actually we've managed to create that, because it's further than we've gone before.
I'm so glad the team went ahead with this idea and managed to create a stunning watch which is also impressively accurate. So the accuracy is from -0 to +7 seconds per day. Now if you want a C12 Loco, you need to be prepared to spend almost 4,000 British pounds or just under $5,000. If we were to evaluate the amount of R&D and what you get for the price, this watch is an incredible value for money. The C12 Loco competes with timepieces several times more expensive, and it can really hold its ground. With that said, when it comes to price, for some this is affordable, while for others it's expensive. Myself, being a young collector and soon to be dad, I fall in the second category. So I wanted to know if Christopher Ward was still committed to producing superb entry-level mechanical watches, or if they were planning to shift their focus towards these high-end models now.
What we're doing at the moment, we're slightly stretching more the collection, but it doesn't mean like we gonna move price point.
We don't want to alienate the people that are getting into the brand at kind of the lower end, but then we also want to explore our limits on the top end. There was a real shift with Belcanto where pre-Belcanto, we were often getting people buying their first mechanical watch at something more of an entry level, so like the Trident, and then they'd make their way up the food chain to one of like the in-house movement or something kind of slightly more expensive. But with Belcanto, we were actually finding people who had much more expensive watches coming down to buy Belcanto, and you're kind of getting customers from both ends of the spectrum.
The Juniolian was a huge success at launch, and that's very much an entry-level field watch. We will never, ever, ever forget that it's just as important to produce beautiful watches at entry level, for us it is anyway, as it is to have watches of the sophistication and price point of a C12 Loco. It's in our DNA. It also means that we are able to bring people into watch collecting who may never have found another entry route. And so we genuinely spend as much time thinking and caring and worrying about that sort of thing as anything else. It's perhaps not as complex to bring a new Trident to the market as it is to bring a C12 Loco, but it's just as important.
I'm relieved to hear the CW remains committed to the entry-level watch collectors. It's so important to have an entry into this hobby because it can get very expensive. But you can actually buy a great watch without having to pay an arm and a leg for it. So obviously the C12 Loco has just been launched, so we have no idea how it's going to be received by watch enthusiasts, but my gut feeling is that it's going to be a success. Will it outshine the Bel Canto? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Finally, we wanted to speak with Sarah, the new Chief Operating Officer at CW. She is new to the watch industry, but she's just as passionate about watchmaking as the rest of the team. Just have a listen to our interview.
I've been here 6 months. I feel like it could easily be 6 years. It's in a very good way. It's been such a jam-packed 6 months because it started, obviously, I knew obviously we were all about the Loco when I arrived, we were about to launch the Desk Diver. I think that was sort of week 2. Yeah. Then we had Bel Canto Classic as sort of the next big one, but we're obviously deep in meetings about the Loco from a very, very early stage. I remember being one of my first meetings was, we needed to choose and finalise the colours, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I think you said to me, what colour should we have? What should our 4th colour be? I think I said orange. And when suddenly we're launching Frisco Orange. And then, of course, we moved offices and we started on the documentary and we've launched some amazing watches as well. So it's just felt an incredible company to join and be part of. And I think the very strong drive and mission within the business is just very infectious. And everybody everywhere feels it and wants the same things. And I think the other aspect I've loved is getting to know the watch community as well. And it is very, very different to many other of the communities I've been part of or worked in. And I love the passion, the love, the obsession, the interest, and just the general spirit within the community as well. It's so strong, it's so exciting. And I think particularly when you look at the British watch industry as well, and you look at the Alliance, British Watchmakers Day, just the sense of energy in it is really, really exciting. And there's just so much innovation and so many brands doing very great things. And I love the connection that brands and we have as well with our community of watch enthusiasts and collectors. It's amazing. That was a bit gushing, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, very.
A bit excited about this. I can do another take, which is far more serious and grown up.
What Christopher Ward is doing is very exciting, and the upward trajectory of the British watch industry is promising. We hope that this will continue, and here at WatchGecko, we are committed to documenting the development of British watchmaking. So subscribe to our channel to make sure you don't miss out on the latest news and updates.